Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday. It's Flag Day, so happy Flag Day to those out there who, celebrate Flag Day. Actually, how do you celebrate Flag Day? You just look for a flag and be like, "Hey, it's flag." I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna do things a little bit differently today. I'm gonna get to my high act of kindness first because my low is kind of a sensitive subject. My high is the fact that I got to see my dad yesterday and we talked for a little bit. That was great. And my act of kindness was I didn't see my mom yesterday, but I had to get her something, and I was able to get it to her. So that was really important. And my mom had to work, and I'm a big boy. I can handle not seeing my mom for a day. Sure. I had to do that all the time in college. So there you go. But good morning and happy Tuesday, everyone. So this is my low. Here's the thing. It's sort of a low, but at the same time, there is a bright side to it. And it's not that it's hard for me to talk about. It's hard for me to say the words correctly that I should be saying here. So, at this point, you guys already know that in the late 2000s, specifically around 2008, I really was contemplating the idea of suicide. For those of you who don't already know, years ago, I was mistaken to be on the autism spectrum, even though now if you want to know, it was years ago. Now, my real diagnosis is both depression, pragmatic communication disorder. But again, none of them have anything to do with autism. But at the time, the diagnosis was wrong. So because of that, my parents had, put me in special ed where, every day was literally the worst day of my life. All throughout. And trust me, people say that high school is hard. Try going through high school, with people who don't know you, telling you something that you're not. And I'm not talking about bullies either. I'm talking legit professionals and faculty telling you that you're something that you're not. That isn't right. And, eventually when I was a sophomore in high school in health class, we saw the movie I Am Sam. And it was at that point, if you've never seen the movie I Am Sam, it basically Sean Penn plays an autistic man who's also a little bit slow, and he has a daughter who. Okay, that's why the beginning of this movie always bothers me because he has a daughter, but the wife leaves him. In a crowd full of people, never to be seen again. I'm really? You're just gonna leave him? Just gonna leave him alone with your kid or whatever? I don't know. I guess it was a metaphor for that people can be cruel, I suppose. I don't know. But basically, Sean Penn and his daughter go to this one party, and I think Sean was giving the kid an attaboy. Where I think maybe he was doing this or something. I forget. But basically, the parents freaked out and they're like, "Oh, we can't have, Sam, Sean Penn's character, have his daughter." And at that point, I'm like, this is going to follow me wherever I go, isn't it? Let's say I actually am fortunate enough to one day, find the right woman and we have a kid, and for whatever reason she leaves, I have to take care of the kid. I know now I have a support system, obviously. I mean, I've had 17 years at this point to contemplate what had just happened. Actually, was it 17? No, wait, I was 16 when I saw the movie I Am Sam. So, 16 years. Now I know I have a support system, but at that point, that didn't occur to me. So, at that point, I'm thinking, this is going to follow me wherever I go. There's no escape from this. All of that. And that's when I was legit contemplating suicide. Because at that point, I was never sorry. The sad part is I don't find this hard to talk about at all, but it's saying the right thing that's hard to do. Well, the right words, yeah, some different sounding words have the same meaning, but the point is, I'm trying to say this, correctly. My point is, I realized at that point, life wasn't worth living anymore. And when my parents had suggested that, I go to Trinity-Pawling for prep school after I graduated from Horseheads, I saw this as a way to partly better myself, because there was a girl I really liked and I wanted to change for her and then ask her out for real. And admittedly, get my revenge on a certain bully that I knew back in high school. But about 50% of what I really wanted to do was just go somewhere to actually, do the deed that would ultimately end my life. And, Trinity-Pawling, several hours away from home, I virtually know no one there. So at that point, nobody would miss me. And then came the day we went to Trinity-Pawling, and literally from day one, it was nonstop work, busy, doing cross country. Seriously, it was the morning of September 2nd when we got to Trinity-Pawling. And it was around, I want to say noon, almost 1 o'clock when we got there. And not even 2 hours later, my very first cross country practice. It was just right out of the gate. I was put to work. And I was put to work so much that, months go by and I had completely forgotten what part of my objective was. And, all my hard work was really starting to bear fruit. My grades were solid. Remember, I am in school. I have to do well in school, My grades were solid. I was doing the fall production of a black comedy, which was a lot of fun, and people complimented how good I was. Well, I say people complimented. If you've ever seen black comedy, I was the art dealer. I barely had to do anything. But people thought nobody said it was bad. Nobody said it was bad, so I'll count that. And I think the biggest, most proud thing I could ever really be about that period of time was, I got the Sean McCabe Award, which is the award given to, a cross-country runner who showed exemplaries and hard work, dedication, grit. And keep in mind, I was a football player at Horseheads. I only did cross-country because Trinity-Pawling could only have 4 postgraduates play on their team, and they picked out their 4 guys before I got accepted. So, and what's even funnier, I was a lineman. So, a lineman who's normally a bigger guy winning an award for cross-country, that should not be used in a sentence at all. But you just heard it in a sentence. So there you go. I was proud of myself, and then, I thought, this isn't going to last. Eventually people are going to forget all about this and move on. And then I thought, okay, we're near the end of the fall semester. That means, you have Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. My birthday's December 28th. My birthday's coming up. I would have turned 19 then. And so I'll have one last, holiday season with my folks. And then when I get back to Trinity-Pawling, that's when I'm going to do it. One problem, though, it was on December 14th, one of my brothers had actually committed suicide. His name was Andrew Einstein. And keep in mind, by all accounts, I know Andrew Einstein was much more well-liked and respected than I was. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was given a lot of props for what I did, throughout that fall semester, doing cross-country and stuff. But, Andrew Einstein was, he was a lacrosse player at a time when lacrosse at Trinity-Pawling was, huge. The year before, they just won New England. For those that in the Horseheads, Corning, Elmira areas, winning New England's for prep schools would be like winning states. That's how big this was. So, needless to say, if you didn't hear football mentioned, if you didn't hear hockey mentioned, lacrosse was the sport everybody was talking about. With that said, Andrew had killed himself, and it brought everybody together. You have guys who, by all accounts, were bigger and stronger than I was. They're hugging, they're crying. They had each other's backs. Sound familiar? And at that point, I told myself, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that to these guys. So, with the sacrifice that, Andrew had made, he wound up saving my life. With all my brothers together in that time of Great Depression, my brothers at Trinity-Pawling saved my life. Normally I would wait until December 14th to tell the story, as that's when, it happened. But I'm doing it today because today is Andrew Einstein's birthday. Yeah, he was actually born on Flag Day. And over the last few weeks, I guess I kind of been thinking about my life and all the things that had happened, since then. And in the end, I harken back to the fact that, it was going to Trinity-Pawling that saved my life. Wound up giving me a new lease on it. And now granted, yeah, I'm still here, but at that time, I had no direction whatsoever. For perspective, I struggled throughout college. It was mid-sophomore year when I finally declared a major, so I already started that late. Even now, I may not be considered autistic, but, depression and pragmatic communication disorder are still, problems. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. They're still problems. They're just different from what they're just different from what I was always told. And technically lied to, but that's beside the point. So, actually, sorry, I'm trying to think of what to say next that also would sound appropriate to say, forgive me. Well, for one thing, this video is dedicated to the Einstein family. Absolutely. I believe Andrew would have been 32, I think? He either would have been 32 or 33. I don't quite because I'm 32 right now. So he and I are roughly the same age. Because if we're both postgraduates, we'd have to be in the same grade. And if we're the same grade, we're likely the same age. So there you go. I think he's 32. I think he would be 32 now. But, you know, sometimes I still think about, you know, that time and how sad it was. But in a way, it never would have led to this moment. You know, I didn't think I mean, seriously, I'll never forget after I graduated from Trinity-Pawling, my late grandfather had asked me, you know, what I wanted to do. And I said, I don't know. I didn't think I'd make it this far. And now you know why. But again, I do that deed, that doesn't happen. You know, I do that deed, making these videos never happens. I do that deed, and I don't live to see my brother get engaged, get married, have 3 kids, make me a godfather. And yeah, it's been hard too. You know, I'm not really in a most favorable career path right now. You know, I'm still single. You know, I've only had like 1 relationship ever, and that was back in 2007. I mean, a few months ago, I just got my heart broken. So, yeah, it's been a mixed bag altogether. But I do try and think that the positives far outweigh the negatives, as glaring as the negatives can be. So, I'm willing to believe that, you know, Andrew Einstein would have wanted not just me, but for the rest of my brothers to press on. And we all got through that year together. And as far as I know, we're all still standing now. Well, most of us. Yeah, we lost Sean Bertanza, but, you know, that was... Then again, who could see that? Who could have seen it coming? At the time, no one saw that coming, but it just happened. Again, mixed bag, but in a weird way, I'm kind of glad for it. Because, you know, I get to talk about it, I get to share these feelings on a platform that allows me to do so. And I'm glad I got to do it today, too. So... happy birthday, Andrew. You know, your brothers miss and love you. And to the rest of the Einstein family, you know, I hope this video finds you well. I hope that you're doing well. I hope this isn't a difficult, you know, time for you. And, sorry. If you excuse me, I think I should probably go see my mom and tell her I love her. In fact, that's actually what I'm going to do after this. So, I'm very humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. Well, beyond humbled, actually. And I'm beyond hopeful that we all have a wonderful Tuesday. And considering that suicide is obviously a big, you know, problem today. Well, it was a problem then too, it's just as bad now. You know, if you really are feeling anything like that, please go talk to someone. I mean, you can talk to me. I went through it. It's a bit emotional for me to talk about. It's weird. It's emotional for me to talk about, but I really have no problems talking about it at all because I do feel it's important. But just talk to someone. There's a reason why sharing your feelings is okay to do. I mean, just watch the movie Inside Out. That's a great movie that deals with sharing your feelings. So there you go. Well, you know, watch Inside Out. It's not as simple as watching Inside Out, but I wish it was. Just like I wish I would stop talking before I become a complete emotional wreck. Okay. But again, if you ever do want to talk, there's at least someone out there who's going to listen. I'm going to listen. I know that. Take care. And make good choices.